Little more progress on the 9000 today. I have, where shall we begin? Starter motor. There's a new starter motor that has gone into it. A nice swanky starter motor nestled down there somewhere. Now, for those people who are needing to replace the starter motor, I've heard all sorts of different ways of doing it. Pulling the battery tray out. Some people have gone up underneath the car, jacked it up, dropped the downpipe. I'm not quite sure why, because I found the easiest thing to do, obviously the strut brace had to come off first, but those two 10mm bolts there for the oil filler, if you undo those, that then allows the filler to go that way, and that gives you enough room to lift the starter motor through effectively this gap here. So that didn't take too long, so the car now starts just like this. I have a new ignition switch on the way. That was one of the reasons that the starter motor was destroyed, a dodgy ignition switch with the starter running after it had been left on, but thankfully the flywheel is not detoothed, which was one of the big concerns that we had, so that is great. Have some spark plugs to go into it. It's had an oil change and filter change, of course. That is my other spare bulb to go in on this side once the new headlamp arrives. We have the new headlamp already in situ here and the corner repeater, and what I've done as well, you could probably just to say see, is the orange bulbs that are usually standard in them. I've changed them for chrome bulbs. An entire £6, really blew the budget there. £6, and it just takes off that kind of orangey effect, makes it less obvious, just to freshen up the car a little bit. Sticking with the lenses, I also took the liberty of refreshing the old clear side repeaters for a new pair from Steve Lewis Saab. Again, a little bit of an extravagance at the moment considering the car doesn't have an MOT, but when the rest of it is looking this good, and especially having had the front end freshened up with the new lamps for the sake of £20, I think it was, for the pair, it really does begin to tidy the car up. I've concentrated a little bit more today on the tailgate area. I removed the old badges because you can never detail underneath them properly, and that allowed me to properly polish the panels underneath the badges and then refit the badges after I had first buffed off the old chrome to give this really nice sort of like stealthy black effect, which I did to my red 9000 that I had. What else can I share with you? New blades have gone on. Had to be aero blades, of course. So it's got a pair of nice swanky, you can see the bonnet hasn't been detailed yet. Look at the state of that bonnet when you compare it to the wing. Look at that. I've not yet touched the bonnet because it does need a little bit of paint, more than a little bit of paint. It's yes, it's not in the best of condition, the bonnet, which is a real shame. Likewise, I haven't yet touched the roof, which is exactly the same state as the bonnet, but I mean, yeah, you look at the difference there. It will tidy, it will clean, but obviously it needs some paint on there. What else can I share with you? The interior. So I have all of the puddle lights work and they're all nice and clean and not cracked. The carpets have been properly vacuumed, wet vacuumed should I say. The seats haven't yet been treated, I need to do that. The headlining is absolutely gorgeous. Passenger seat is really nice. I mean, that one's still soft actually. Driver side, of course, as you can imagine, that one is a little on the dry side. On the seat, But the bolster is good, where they always hole. Well, I say it's good, it's at least not holed. But again, you know, this isn't important stuff for now. Rear seats are just fantastic. Yeah, so what else? Oh yeah, the stereo. This changer, sorry, not the changer, the single disc, you can hear it whirring though. It does accept a disc, but the unit itself, I don't have the key with me, the unit itself powers up. I don't get any illumination on this display, and that one's a little bit of a mess. It'll be nice to get that working properly, but all of these bits and pieces, the clocks work properly, the mirrors work, which is great. The sun visors aren't in the best of condition. They're missing the panel, but I do have a genuine Eric Carlson signed visor from 2013 that Eric very kindly signed for me, that once it's MOT'd it might go into it as a final touch. There's not really a huge amount else to share. It's just coming up really nicely at the moment. There's nothing really that it is in need of. Just sort of working my way around the car. I've spent quite a bit of time, as I say, on the rear end of the car today. I pulled the wiper off again to properly get round into detail in there, because you can never get around things like that otherwise. And whilst the wiper's off, I'll leave it off and repaint it. I'll do the same with the front arms, because they're a little bit scabby. Polish this humongously big tailpipe as well, which sounds rather fruity. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. So where that leaves us is ABS sensor that needs to go onto it. This offside rear sensor needs to go on. I've got an SRS light that's on, so I'll need a Tech 2 for that. I'll fit the ignition switch when that arrives in a couple of days. Yeah, and that's it. I guess just the headlight to drop in, grille to go back on. Again, for the MOT, I won't bother buying any new number plates for now, because I'm aware of the non-essential MOT stuff creeping up a little bit. Headlights it needed, side repeaters it needed, sorry, the corner front clusters, the wing repeaters it didn't need. Likewise, it doesn't need plugs, it doesn't need fancy bulbs, but I had those in the garage. Anything else? I don't think there's really much else. Oh yeah, cosmetically, just one other thing that I will do is to take that center cap off and paint that one, because that's the only one that lets it down a wee little bit. But other than that, oh yeah, the boot spoiler is a little bit lacquer peeled. It's not a big deal at this stage. It's possible that for the next owner, I'm sure they'd want to get the bonnet painted, and maybe whilst it's in, have that spoiler done as well. The only other thing they might want to do is, there's a bit of lacquer peel on the top of that door, which is really the only sort of blemish on it. But yeah, really pleased with it, really pleased. I'm hoping to run it down for an MOT possibly within the next 10ish days. Yeah, happy days. Take it easy, people. All the best. Bye bye.